Hello, I'm Alexis and welcome to my May TBR. Okay, so there is so much happening in May. We need to just get right into it. There are 2 readathons that I am hoping to participate in. First being the Asian Readathon hosted by With Cindy. I will link the information about it below. This is a readathon that Cindy hosts every single year in the month of May, and it's just meant to celebrate Asian, American, and Pacific Islander month, and just a great way to diversify your reading. And another readathon that I'm hoping to participate in, I did their round last year, is the Escape the Readathon. This one is such a cool concept. This one is a team-based readathon hosted by Books with Lexi, and it's basically, for this round at least, we are in an abandoned carnival. We are all on our team. I am on Team Game Jesters, and you have to read a certain number of books with your team to escape the readathon. And it is just so much fun. It is so great if you're a mood reader because the prompts are just really universal. You can get them to fit any book, any TBR, and that's my plan for this month. I don't have a set TBR going in, but at the end of this video, I am just going to give you my options that I'm thinking of using for each prompt. So I think that's all of the housekeeping things to cover. And with that, let's just get into the books I'm hoping to read this month. So first up, as you know, I always start with the Literally Dead book club pick of the month. This is a monthly readathon. We read horror, thriller, mystery books hosted by Books with Lala. And for this month, we are reading Sisters of the Lost Nation by Nick Medina. This is so funny because I literally had this book in my hand at Barnes & Noble, but they only had the paperback, and like, I don't know what happened, but paperback prices have gone up so much. It was like $20 for this paperback, and I'm just not gonna spend that when I can spend a few more dollars to get the hardcover. So I did end up putting it down, but I actually opted for purchasing his newer release, Indian Burial Ground, because both of his books sound incredible. And then the very next day, Kayla announced that this was the May book club pick. So it's just kind of perfect that I finally have an excuse to read his books. Not that I needed an excuse, obviously I'm interested. I have Goodreads pulled up on my phone because I don't know what this is about. I'm just excited to read it. It has a gorgeous cover. So it says, a young native girl's hunt for answers about the women mysteriously disappearing from her tribe's reservation leads her to delve into the myths and stories of her people, all while being haunted herself in this atmospheric and stunning, poignant debut. I don't need to know more. That sounds so good. I am so here for it. I'm just always excited for the Literally Dead book club picks. Kayla has such good choices. Next up, talking about another readathon that I do every month, also hosted by Kayla, is the Buzzword Readathon. And the prompt for May is a word, and that is every. And for this one, I am extra lucky because I get to check off a book that is on my 12 books I want to read in 2024. This one was so highly recommended by everybody at the end of 2023. I always compile my list of the 12 recs based on other booktubers' favorites of the year. This showed up in so many videos, so of course I had to buy it because it sounds like exactly my thing. And that is Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. I have just heard incredible things about this one. It's sort of like a cozy mystery thriller about a guy whose family kills people. So this one is about Ernie Cunningham, a crime fiction aficionado. He is a reluctant guest at his family reunion. Family reunions aren't for everyone, of course, but Ern's part of a notorious crime family, and 3 years ago he witnessed his brother kill a man and immediately turned him into the police. Now Ern's brother is being released from prison and the family is gathering to welcome him home. I've heard this one is also really, really funny, so I'm excited. It's giving me sort of like Finlay Donovan vibes with the murder and the funny situations. And yeah, I'm sorry, all I ever say is I'm excited to read these books, but like truly, I am so excited. Books are just my favorite thing in the entire world. Okay, moving on to the next one. If you've watched any of my previous TBRs, you know that I try to read a nonfiction book every single month. And for this month, I decided to go with The 100 Years' War on Palestine, A History of Settler Colonialism and Resistance by Rashid Khalidi. This one is so intimidating to me. I'm gonna be honest, I really don't know much about Palestine, and seeing so much of it in the news, I just wanna learn more. I think this is gonna be a really tough read. This is not my normal nonfiction that I gravitate towards. I like a memoir or something about like animals, climate change, plants, science, that kind of stuff. I'm not really a history girly, but in school I did really enjoy learning about history. And yeah, I think this is just a really important topic right now that I want to know more on. So that's what we're gonna do this month, and hopefully this is very informative. I've seen it around on a lot of recommendation lists for people who want to learn more about Palestine, so that's the hope. Okay, and last up for my obligatory TBR books that I have decided for myself every single month, we have my classic. And this month I'm looking forward to reading The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan. For AAPI month, I really wanted to pick a classic book by an Asian American author, and I think this one is just the perfect choice. I mean, I have heard about this book forever and just never got around to reading it. And like, look at how stunning this edition is. I was looking to order a copy online because I knew I was interested in this one, and I came across the Penguin Orange editions. There's like 12 of them, and I am suddenly dead set on collecting all of them now. So this one is set in 1949. 4 Chinese women, recent immigrants to San Francisco, gather to play mahjong, remember the past, and gossip into the night. United in unspeakable loss and new hope, they call themselves the Joy Luck Club. With wit and sensitivity, Amy Tan examines the sometimes painful, often tender memories that reveal these women's strengths, worries, and determination, which their American-born daughters reject as irrelevant. So this is another one that sounds like it's going to be hard-hitting and very emotional, but like just an important read. Okay, now on to the more fun books. Not that those weren't fun, but the books I picked because I'm just in the mood for them this month. First up, a book that I have been looking forward to since like last December when it was on the Goodreads Horror Choice Awards category, that kind of thing. And that is Natural Beauty by Ling Ling Wang. In this one, we follow a young musician into an elite, beauty-obsessed world where perfection comes at a staggering cost. I know this one talks a lot about the beauty industry, unrealistic expectations for women and beauty and makeup and all that stuff. It's kind of giving me like Rouge by Mona Awad vibes, but hopefully done better. Oh, I'm really looking forward to this one. All of my Goodreads friends have given it really, really high ratings, so I'm thinking I'm gonna enjoy this one a lot, and I'm just really craving a good horror book. It's been a minute since I've read one. Next up is a book I just discovered while I was kind of trying to pick my Asian Readathon TBR, and I couldn't fit it to any of the prompts, but that's okay. I went out and bought it anyways because it just sounds so good. And that is After Parties, which is a short story collection by Anthony Visna So. This one is a bunch of stories following the lives of Cambodian Americans. As the children of refugees carve out radical new paths for themselves in California, they shoulder the inherited weight of genocide and grapple with the complexities of race, sexuality, friendship, and family. Again, this is gonna be like hard-hitting and emotional. I don't know why I'm picking all of these like sort of sad books, but I'm hoping that it just has some humor into it too. And yeah, just when I saw this cover at the bookstore, I couldn't pass it up. It looks so beautiful. I love the bright pink, and like having just found it on all of these recommendation lists for Asian American authors and then walking into an indie bookstore that I'd never been in before, seeing this on display, it felt like a sign from the universe that it was time to read this one. Sticking with the theme of I just really want to read horror this month, I'm craving a good horror. Now You're One of Us by Asa Nonami. And this is a translated work by Michael and Mitsuko Volek. I don't know, just something about this cover. It is so unsettling. It is about a woman who marries a man and they end up moving into his parents' house and living with his family, and just weird things start happening. It says, once a series of strange events and inconsistencies trigger Noriko's suspicions, however, reality becomes inseparable from her own darkest imaginings. And the top compares it to Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca, which like, one of my favorite books of all time. Super, super excited for this one. I first heard about this one from Jordaline and she loved it, and I take her horror recommendations very seriously. So hoping she doesn't steer me wrong with this one, and just can't wait to be creeped out by it. And last up, before we get into my Readathon TBRs for the month, I just want to read something by Junji Ito. So we have a few options here. We have No Longer Human, Censor, Remina, and Deserter. And then I also just bought Stitches, which is like his newest collaboration with a horror short story author. So he drew the art for the stories, but then it's like actual stories in there. So one of these will be picked for the month. If you have a recommendation of which is your favorite, please let me know. But okay, let's get into my Asian Readathon TBR now. First up, I have probably my most anticipated book on this entire list. I was trying to be good and not buy books, and then that all flew out the window. And that is A Tempest of Tea by HaFasil. First of all, can we have a moment for this cover? She is so gorgeous, and the bisexual lighting, this better be queer. I don't know if it is. So I know this is a YA fantasy, which I don't really read a lot of anymore, but this one has been getting such great reviews, like I have to give it a chance. So this one is about a woman named Arthi Casimir. She's a criminal mastermind and a collector of secrets. Her prestigious tea room transforms into an illegal blood house by night, catering to the vampires feared by society. How do I keep forgetting this is about vampires? Like, I'm sold. I am probably starting this literally May 1st because I'm so excited for it. Look at the little teapot, I mean. And this fits for the prompt, read a book by any Asian author. The next prompt is to read a book that feels timeless, and for this one, I've decided to go with Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. So the reason I'm picking this one is because it's a retelling of, I was about to say Cleopatra and Frankenstein, Antony and Cleopatra by William Shakespeare. Shakespeare's plays just really feel timeless. Like, who knew that a man living way back when we would still be reading and studying and writing retellings of his plays? So in this one, it says, every year, thousands in the kingdom of Talin will flock to its capital twin cities, San Air, where the palace hosts a set of games. For those confident enough in their abilities to jump between bodies, there is a fight to the death across San Air for a chance to win unimaginable riches. Princess Kala lurks in hiding. 5 years ago, a massacre left her parents dead and the palace of Air empty, and she was the one who did it. Before her uncle, King Kasa, and his forces in San can catch her, she plans to finish the job and bring down the monarchy. So we have the competition aspect, which I love in books, and I'm just hoping for a gorgeous love story between our Cleopatra and Antony characters. I'm a big fan of Chloe Gong's writing, so I just can't imagine that this won't be a new favorite of mine. For the next prompt, to read an underrated book, I've decided to go with The Sacrifice by Ren Chapco. Looking on Goodreads, this one only has 2,820 ratings, which is just wild to me because Ren Chapco is like a popular author. She has that vampire series that I read the first book in. So yeah, I just couldn't believe that a book on my shelf would have so low number of ratings, and I'm very excited for this one. So this one is about an island that is cursed. The Filipino locals speak of it in hushed voices and refuse to set foot on the island. They know the lives it has claimed. They won't be next. Hollywood film crew won't be dissuaded. Legend claims a dreamer god sleeps, waiting to grant unimaginable power in exchange for 8 sacrifices. The producers are determined to document the evidence, and they convince Alan, a local teen, to be their guide. This sounds so good. This would be a really good like summer ween book taking place on an island. So as all of the other books on the TBR, I am very excited for this one. The next challenge is to read a debut book, and for this one, I have picked Rifka by Mohammed El Kurd. This one is a debut collection of poetry and narrates the author's own experience in dispossession in an infamous neighborhood in Jerusalem, Palestine, whose population of refugees continues to live on the brink of homelessness at the hands of the Israeli government and US-based settler organization. So this is another one that I've just seen recommended everywhere, and I just really want to know more. I want to read from a firsthand account of somebody who's actually living what's going on right now. So I think this one is going to be a very tough read, but very important. And the last challenge for the readathon is to read a book that has some aspect that you would want in your next life. So for this prompt, I've decided to pick The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. This is another one that's actually on my 12 recs list. So that's amazing for me, checking off 2 this month, because I saw everybody loving this book last year. And you know what? I just have to buy into the hype. It's about witches and found family. What is there not to love? So the aspect of this that I would love in my next life is if they existed, I would love to be a witch, and I would love to live in a coven of my found family witches. Like, this sounds like a perfect life. So I know this one is about a witch who goes to the mysterious Nowhere house to teach 3 other young witches how to control their magic. And based on there being a guy on the cover, there's probably a little bit of a love story. So I've heard literally nothing bad about this book. Can't wait to get into it. Okay, that is it for the Asian Readathon TBR, which brings us to Escape the Readathon. So, like I said earlier, I don't have a set TBR. I've just kind of listed books that will fit for each prompt. So we're gonna go rapid fire through them. Not gonna give you a synopsis because just talked about them and all that. And yeah. Okay, so for the first prompt, it is Good Fortune. Read your most read or favorite genre. For this, books on my TBR that would count: Sisters of the Lost Nation, The Sacrifice, Natural Beauty, and Now You're One of Us, because, of course, as you know, my favorite genre is horror. Next prompt is Unfair Wheel, to read a book at the top of your TBR. I am obviously most excited for A Tempest of Tea, but Immortal, Longings, and Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone also work for this. After that, we have Food Court, read a popcorn read. I had a hard time coming up with one for this because I don't think any of my books on my TBR are popcorn reads, so I just went with the cozy options: The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches or Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, because I think they'll have a little bit of humor. They're definitely the most lighthearted books on my TBR. For Cutthroat Circus, that is cover that matches any team leader's YouTube thumbnail, and I've decided to go with Wicked Reading for my thumbnail inspiration. She has the most gorgeous hot pink hair right now, and it just fits perfectly with either After Parties or A Tempest of Tea. So those are my options for that one. The pink matches the pink. For Heads Up, read an author that you have read from before. I've read from Chloe Gong, Ren Chapco, and Junji Ito, so those are my options for that. Sing around an intimidating read. I think you know for this one that The 100 Years War has to be my pick. I am just very apprehensive to go into that one, but I know how important of a read it is going to be. For Bullseye Battle, read a new to you author. I'm just gonna put up a graphic with everybody because almost everybody on my TBR is a new to me author, which is so exciting for me. For No Strings Attached, read a friend recommendation. So a lot of these books are actually recommended by other booktubers, so I will put a list up. I could pick any of these. I get almost all of my recommendations from BookTube, so I count everyone as my friend. For Hard Hitter, a 5-star prediction. For this, I've decided that I think Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, The Very Secret Society of Witches, or Rifka have a good potential to be a 5-star read this month. And the last prompt, I can't tell you right now because it's a poll pick. So make sure you follow me on Instagram if you would like to help me decide, because I will be posting a poll with some options for this prompt sometime in the month of May. Okay, I think that's it. We did it. These are all of the books that I'm hoping to get to in May. I know it's very ambitious, but I am nothing if not an ambitious reader. I just want to devour all of the stories, and I can't help myself. I have way too many books and not enough time. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please give me a like if you enjoyed it, and I hope you read a good book today, and I will see you soon in my next one. Bye.